Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Modern Men, episode 5. We've done 5 of these things already, Andy? Dang. Well, Pinky's out. We got Comic Man Andy, my co-host on these Modern Men episodes. How you doing tonight, Andy?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
And then our latest co-host for the Modern Men experiment down below there. We got JP from Discovery Bay Comics. How you doing, JP?
Is the mic hot? Can you hear me?
Oh my God, let me see. Oh,
Can you hear me?
God.
Yeah. All right, it's hot. Okay, yeah. Hey, man, thanks for having me. I'm really looking forward to today's episode. Man, that Moon Knight was good.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into some Moon Knight. So before we even get into the chat, we're gonna do a quick review of some Moon Knight tonight. Big thanks to Kenny Comichead84 for his nomination of Moon Knight: The Warren Ellis run from last week. If there's a read you guys want us to read, kind of think about it for the whole show, because at the end of this show, we're gonna do a randomizer. And whatever wins that randomizer, we're going to read next week. So if there's something on like DC streaming out, Marvel Unlimited, the Comixology Unlimited gimmick, if it's on that in about 1 to 5 issues, feel free to nominate it later on. We're going to put it in a randomizer, and we're going to read it and review it next week if it wins. So I don't know if anyone on this panel actually knows anything about Moon Knight, but I think you'll talk about it here in a second. I think we all three enjoyed it. So big thanks to Kenny Comichead84 for his nomination last week. But let's go ahead and get into that chat. We got Andy. He's wolfing down some popcorn over there. We got John's Comics with Kids. How's it going, John? He's got me wanting to watch some Westerns now. He had a great list show on his channel right before this started airing tonight. So unfortunately, Tombstone was not picked on any of those, but that would be my pick if I was on that show. Love me some Tombstone, some Doc Holliday and all that good stuff. I'd probably throw Young Guns in there for fun too. Who doesn't love some Young Guns?
What about Three Amigos?
Oh man, Three Amigos. There you go, John. There's one for the list. We got Jira Yasama 23. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too much. How's it going? Happy to see you in the chat. We got the Great Legend, so he's coming at you live in that chat. Throw around that blue wrench. Happy to have you in the chat, Legend. He says, I am modern first, then hardcovers, then trades, then singles, then slabs. I love it. Next up, we got the Immortal Big E Shack. That's the best I can do, Biggies. I'm sorry.
He's clanging and banging.
He's clanging and banging, rolling down Santa Monica. I know he's happy to see his boy Disco on the show tonight. Next up, we got J Hood Creative. What's going on, man? He says, I'll be listening while painting. Hopefully we don't mess you up too bad, because that guy, check out his channel. He's got some beautiful art over there on J Hood Creative and some phenomenal books to show off, some great stories behind them. So one of my favorite channels currently in the comic book community is J Hood Creative. So definitely go out of your way and check him out. He's also got a contest going on until Thanksgiving, I believe. He's got a phenomenal contest. So check that out. We got Air Spider 23. What is going on, man? Happy to see Air Spider 23 back in the chat. 36 Chambers Tattoo Studios back in the chat once again. How's it going? I guess we got a Poor Man's Comic sighting. How you doing, Poor Man's? Check out his Instagram. He might have just found a rare Adam Hughes original piece of art. So go to his Instagram and give him your thoughts on the legitimacy of this piece of art he's found, because I'd like to hear other people's thoughts on that. But it looks like he might have had a really cool find. We got Dave Enrique. What's going on? He says, curious to see what you guys think of Mr. Knight. Absolutely. And then last but not least in the chat so far, we got Bob World, who was responsible for that graphic you saw at the top of the show. So big thanks as usual to Bob World for the graphics and everything he contributes to the community here. But before we go on, I want to talk about a contest started by Drew Manchu, and that's the Hulk contest. So basically, Drew's giving away this toy Hulk you see back there in that background. And yes, it will be in a box. He has 2 versions of it. One is his. He's taking out. He's playing like a little kid at recess with it. And then otherwise, you have a chance to win this bad boy in a box. And it is a phenomenal toy. So he says, open to U.S. residents, 18 over, must be subscribed to the Comic Core YouTube channel. And you can leave a comment on any video posted today through the 12th of December. And the winner will be picked on the Off the Rails show on the 13th. But definitely, like after this show concludes, go back to the comments section of this video and others and use the hashtag Comic Corp Smash. So Comic Corp Smash is what you want to use in the comment section below once these live streams are over. So definitely big thanks to Drew for hooking up that contest. And he's got a nice little piece of Hulk action going there.
Yeah, you got to win that, man. Because if you win that, then you can go ahead and you can Hulk smash all the live chats all day, baby.
Oh yeah, and he says there's no limit on how many times you can enter. So if there's a Comic Corp video like 5 times a day, you have 5 opportunities to enter the contest. So
very cool.
Definitely
Very
Comic
cool.
Corp Smash. So there you go. All right. So like I said, last week's winner of the randomizer drawing was Moon Knight. And I believe it was from, correct me if I'm wrong, 2014.
Correct.
And it was written by Warren Ellis. Declan Shelby is your artist, which is phenomenal artwork. And then you had Jordi Belair on the colors. So I'll go ahead and start with Comic Man Andy. Andy, what were your thoughts on this Moon Knight run?
Man, well, really quick here. Let's get a quick weekly beard update.
Oh, all right. Here we go.
We're about 2 weeks in. It's going strong. So,
All right.
I haven't read a lot of Moon Knight. And after reading this, I don't know why I haven't. This is just I went into this thinking I was gonna read 5 or 6 issues of like an ongoing story. And I'm actually glad that each issue was kind of its own little story, kind of opened it up, kind of gave you a couple of different perspectives, and it played off really well. The artwork is just on point. The story's on point. I don't have anything bad to say about this at all, in my opinion. And because of this, I gotta read more Moon Knight.
Agreed.
What do you think, JB?
Well, a couple things. One, I read this on the Marvel Unlimited app on my phone. Okay.
Ooh.
And I haven't actually read a bunch on the Marvel Unlimited app. I actually read most of the stuff with Adam of Bear Island, as we were sitting in that airport for 6 hours. But this time I actually read it through the perspective of one frame at a time, instead of seeing the whole page, because I was on my phone, and it was fantastic. I was always under the impression that Moon Knight was Marvel's Batman. It was the poor man's Batman. And it kind of is, there's some twist to it. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but what is the ancient deity Nonshu? Am I saying that right? So there is some mysticism to Moon Knight that there isn't to Batman there.
Yep.
But the way that this is written, and it was fantastic, especially if you're gonna when you're reading a comic book and you see the whole page, you cheat. Your eyes naturally cheat ahead to see what's coming. The next splash page is a page away, or where your cliffhangers are. When you're reading this through the Unlimited app and you're only going by panel, you are just in that panel until you move to the next. And I had no idea what's coming next, and I was hooked. I read all 5 issues straight. The sniper one in issue number 2 was fantastic, as they were jumping from storyline to storyline to storyline to storyline to storyline of all these different people. And then they go whack in the head, and then they just move on to the next person, a whack in the head. It was terrific, man. So I definitely will be reading more Moon Knight, and definitely underappreciated this character. He was awesome. Man, his little dagger things. I had made the analogy that, where Batman used more like ninja stars. I always thought that Batman's were, more kind of ninja stars. Moon Knight is using these things to cut people's hands off.
Those little crescent moons.
Yeah, those crescent moons are awesome, the way he used them. Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
JB, this was my first ever experience with an electronic device, reading a comic book on an electronic device, and I used Comixology. And at first, I did kind of go to that panel to panel, and I didn't enjoy it. And one of the reasons why I didn't enjoy it is Carson will be able to pull this up in a second. When you get to pages, Carson, if you could pull that up, you get to pages like that.
Yeah.
To be able to appreciate that entire page, when they're going from panel to panel on my phone. I just wish I had that comic book in my hand. And that's my favorite panel right there is when he pops out of that car pimping and banging and clanging down the alley. And I was like, oh God, I can't wait to see where this goes. So it was my first experience. I appreciated it. I liked how handy it is and convenient it is, but I still bought the comics. They should have been here by now. They're a little delayed due to the holiday, but it's a good resource.
Cool. What did you read it on, Carson?
I actually read it on my iPad Pro. So the main reason I bought the Pro is to read, comics because
through Unlimited app, through the Marvel.
Yes, absolutely. So as you can see, there's a comic. There's the size of the iPad Pro, so it lines up pretty closely. But I think a segment I'm going to start each and every week when they do these reads, especially if we do them digitally, is the panel of the week. So I believe this one and this one were Andy's panels of the week. But I think that mine has to go to this.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That story was great too, man.
Yeah. I think it's like issue 3 or 4 where he has to fight like the punk ghosts, basically.
Yeah.
And he goes, Moon Knight, he's a little cocky. He gets there. He takes a swing at it. It goes right through him. And then he gets his ass kicked. Yeah. Absolutely. So he goes back into his dark, broody mansion. And I think it's Khonshu's the way it's pronounced. I'm not sure either. Okay. The way I pronounced it in my head was Khonshu. So that's why I'm sticking with because I thought it sounded cool. So him and Khonshu, he's just going to him like, Khonshu's like, don't you have anything that fights the dead? Like, seriously, you're Moon Knight, blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, you know what? You're probably right. So he just opens up his basement and he comes back dressed basically like Khonshu and all this ancient Egyptian
armor
crap and armor.
Yeah.
And he just throws the first punch he throws makes the dude's head explode. And I thought that was awesome. Hilarious. So it's been a minute since I read a comic and started.
But that storyline was actually really freaky where, they had run an experiment on somebody and buried him in the
that different one,
floor. Oh,
that was a different issue.
That was number 4. That was
but it ran really well from that into 4. Yep.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yes. Yeah. He says, for as long as we have been together, you have collected items from ancient Egypt, a civilization of the dead as much as the living, a people who mapped the afterlife, a people who clothed their dead for the world beyond and sought always to touch the untouchable. Oh, good stuff.
Good.
We didn't pull that. We didn't pull that panel, but that's
that panel with that
a lot of good
beak,
panels.
That crazy beak that he's wearing, that armor. That was slick.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about. I'll show Andy's panel again. We haven't even talked about the contrast and colors and dark grittiness.
Well, what I did notice is through these first 5 issues, I didn't really see. I thought I was always under the impression that there was multiple personalities, but in these first 5, I didn't really see the multiple personalities. We just saw Mr. Knight. Really,
I actually do agree with that.
We only saw Mr. Knight. And I really dug how the police, tell the rookie, "Oh, this is Mr. Knight," and he goes, "Is that Moon Knight the criminal?" And he's like, "Well, no, that's Mr. Knight."
I feel like there were parts where they alluded to the other personalities because there's parts where he's like sitting in his recliner in his mansion, and you see kind of like these 2 forms, like there's like these 2 ghost-like people, and then they usually after that they'll cut the Khonshu, which they're having like a one-on-one conversation. Mm-hmm. So I assume like that was like the closest they got to the multiple personality disorder type problem he had going on, but they never really. I feel like if it was like a 24 issue run instead of a 6-issue run, they would have revisited that and had a lot more room to breathe there. So I don't know if it was just like Warren Ellis wanted to try it out and he just never revisited it, or Marvel and Warren Ellis never really, had an agreement on more than 6 issues. I'm not sure, but I feel like if this went longer, we would have had a whole issue just dedicated to those multiple personalities.
Yeah, I can't find it right now, but one of the issues opens up with him seeing what looks like a psychiatrist and him possibly being diagnosed with some dissociative, some personality disorder. And it's like, well, they were alluding to that, and I felt like they could dig a lot deeper in that. And I can't find it at the moment, but I think it might have been issue 4.
Then, so now we get 5 issues because I only read the 5. I didn't know it only went 6, but I read the 5 issues, and we never get any backstory as to where's this guy getting all his money from? He's got all the gadgets. I mean, he's definitely got
he makes
that.
a joke about that too.
Blood money, yeah.
Yeah, right. He alludes to it, but he never says where he got it.
Yeah, he's just like I think one of his little batons gets damaged. It launches like the repelling rope.
Yeah,
and he's just like, man, they broke my little baton. Those are expensive. It's not like I have a job or anything to replace that. They just keep battling.
Right?
I think it's like issue 5.
Yeah,
kind of like that Daredevil episode 2 where he has to like fight through that hallway of like ninjas to get to that little girl. And like in that issue, like he has to fight through a 5-story building to get to the person he's rescuing. It's kind of like the same situation, but he's on a podcast. He's like floor number 2. And
what does that remind you? It kind of reminds you of John Wick, right? It kind of reminds you of like a John Wick. He walks in and goes, 6 floors, huh? All right, here we go. Floor number 1. Bam, just start beating fools down.
That reminds me of Punisher Warzone, the movie where he goes floor to floor and just mops every level of that building with all the bad guys. But they talk about that blood money, and they don't really allude to where he got it. But instantly, my head went to kind of like the Punisher. He takes out these bad guys and these mob bosses and these other characters, and he's always running across bags full of cash. So he probably launders it and runs that right into his enterprise.
Yeah. And then the tech, though. Mm-hmm. So is he a genius? Is he not a genius? I mean, I still don't really understand where Batman is a genius, basically. He's the world's greatest detective. And I put Batman on the level of Tony Stark as far as intelligence levels. Where do I put Moon Knight? I know he's got gadgets. I know he kicks ass, but I didn't really see in that first 5 issues that he's like a genius or anything.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But I did say last week we were going to do like 5 issues, but I did notice that Warren Ellis's final issue was issue 6. I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to read one more issue. The last issue was pretty good. I won't spoil it too much because I'm assuming
I'm going to go in and read it
anyway. But he has to he basically has to find a new version of what's called the Black Spectre in that one, which I guess is like one of his like biggest rogues in his rogues gallery. It's like a new version of that based on the old version. So I won't talk too much more about that since you haven't read it. But he gets pretty crazy evil real quick.
It has amazing pages in that too.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, the art and Jordy Belaire's colors. When it comes they literally have like piles of garbage in the background, so it looks all black and dirty and trashy, and then white. I'll just show that panel just one more time of just that almost like whitewash blank page, and then just the darkness in the back.
Well, what's so stunning about this art is you get artists that will do a whole ton of stuff, and then when they want to depict white, they get the color white out and they use white. Mm-hmm. This to me feels like you took the page and painted around the white. And Moon Knight is the absence of any color. Until he bleeds or something like that. And it just pops so hard. And that panel, Carson, that you had up was the one that gave me goosebumps when I ran into that, because it was like there's the panel, there's the scene, but then Moon Knight is just absent of anything yet there.
Yeah. So any final thoughts on Moon Knight, JB?
No, I'm gonna read more. I actually now I want to know if I can find out. Actually, the question that I have is, where should I be starting to find out where this guy got his money? I want to see the multiple personalities.
Yeah,
I want to see the other parts of this character, and I'm not really sure where to go at this point.
Yeah, I know. I kind of plan on wanting to try to read the Bill Sienkiewicz stuff from the 80s.
Yep.
I think most of the good stuff comes from the 80s Moon Knight. I think there's another one, was it called Fists of Khonshu, I think, that I think Tivo from Lords of the Long Box was mentioning in one of the chats today. So definitely want to seek out both of those. And then there was the David Finch stuff, which is a lot more recent, probably like 2000s. It's supposed to be pretty good too.
Lemire does a run too. Cool. Yep.
Yeah. What's his name? Comics Misexplained was saying that was a really good run too. I know he's a big Lemire fan.
I think I'm going to Lemire next, and then I think I want to go back to the Sienkiewicz stuff, because the Sienkiewicz is the first solo title, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
If you were saying writer, I would follow your lead and go Lemire, but I gotta find out the origin. I want this more story. I want more of the core foundation. So I need to know where to be pushed to read that story.
You guys are giving me goosebumps, man. I can't wait to dig into this more.
It was good stuff.
All right.
It was definitely
cool.
All
right. So once again, big thanks to Comic Cat 84 for that.
Yes, great job,
Kenny. Stick around at the end of the show. because we're going to put them in a randomizer. We're going to jostle them all together, and we're going to pick one from that randomizer. So start thinking now about what you want us to read and review like we just did, and save it for the end of the show. We'll put it in a randomizer, and we'll go crazy with it. But before we get into our main topic of the night, I want to get into that chat. We got Chris Barrett. I was starting to get worried about you, man. Seen you in
There he
the chat
goes.
yet, but here he is, keeping the streak alive. And we got the AEW World Champion. We got YouTube is 90. Drink it in, man. We got what's going on, Chad 90. There it is. A little bit of the bubbly. So
There you go.
Great Legend loves the bubbly too. We know that for sure. We got Dave Enrique still in the chat. We got Bear Island Comics. What's going on, man? How you doing, Bear?
He's actually making a comment about John's Comics with Kids released a video today for his Baltimore review.
Oh, that's right.
And it was awesome. Definitely a recommend. I need to get a top picks thing going on my page, because that one should be in there. It was fantastic.
So for any of you guys that went to Baltimore, there's that link floating around on their Facebook page to do a survey for Baltimore to offer them feedback. I'm sure they'd love everybody that was there to fill out that survey.
Nice.
I thought it was great. Ton of books. More comic books than a lot of comic books.
All right. So as you guys could tell when we're reviewing this, there are definitely different ways to read and enjoy comics. And hopefully this topic doesn't feel a little bit redundant or unoriginal or whatever, but I kind of feel like it's a little important to cover different ways to read comics or comic book formats. Because there's, like, in 2019, there's so many ways to access a comic book. And we'll debate tonight, I think, the different ways. And maybe, are these ways collectible? Are they overkill too much? Because by the time you get to, like, Absolute Edition hardcover, which we'll talk about in a second, this comic may have been reprinted 6 times, 7 times, 8 times over. So we'll discuss that in a little bit. So to discuss that,
also, while we discuss it, can we make sure we talk about cost?
Yes, absolutely we can. Okay. Yes, we will. So we'll start. We'll just go down the list. I'll get your guys' thoughts on each and every one, but we'll probably just skip this first one because it's so simple. Obviously, the first format, the comic book, simple as that. Single issue, floppy, whatever you want to call it. Usually averages $4 if on a good day. And unless you get something like this, which is like, what, $7 or something, prestige format. So they're going more toward those. So you got comic books. Basic as that. Usually the first reprint structure, though, is your trade paperback. In my opinion, a trade paperback, at least at my local shop, that's almost their bread and butter. This is what gets them their sales, keeps their doors open, is trade paperbacks. If you walk in their store, the first thing you see is a wall of 100 trade paperbacks based on best to worst seller.
Ooh,
and their top seller for 3 years running, by the way, Andy, has been Saga Trade #1. We talked about that previously. I just had Walking Dead Trade 1 in my hand. I think this is an important trade as well. This actually got me into The Walking Dead, reading this trade. And Image has the trade format down pretty well. Usually almost every one of their Volume 1 trades is $10. It's a good buy-in price. So what do you guys think about trades?
Love them. Absolutely love them. And I need to trend more towards trades. I use the example of Die. I love that series. When I went and read the trade, I enjoyed it more being able to read it through, those first 5 or 7 issues, whatever it was in there. I think they're great, man. I absolutely think they're great.
What about you, Andy?
I'm kind of torn on trades. I think they have a great place in comic books, but it's a slippery slope for me, because if I have a series that I read in trade but I don't have the comic books, I'm turning around buying all the comic books. Or if I have something in comic books that I really love the story but I don't want to read them constantly, and then I'll buy the trade. So for me, I end up spending double, if not triple, what I do on a lot of runs. And the trades, to be honest, the way they're bound, you got to sit there and constantly force them open and force them open.
True.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
That's true.
That's true. I really like, but I'm not going to talk I'll buy trades. I will read trades and I will enjoy them. There are some things I like to critique on them, but I'm there with you, JB.
I will say that I am interested that the LCS you go to features them because
Yes.
none of the 3 places I go to feature trades at all. They
Yep.
are an afterthought, sideways on a back wall, up in the corner. As soon as you walk in, you get slapped in the face with Funko Pops, statues, action figures, and card games. And then, the new release wall, very few back issues in my places, but definitely not trades. Trades are something you'd have to ask for.
Yeah,
Wow.
my LCS, as soon as you walk in the door, the first thing you're greeted with is their discount trade section. Right in front of the main counter, and then off into all of their aisles and everything is all of the 40-50% off trades. And then right back there, they go from the top selling right into the best artists. And then from the other artists, they do a couple of those. Then you go Marvel, DC, independent stuff. It's all trades on the floor. And I really do appreciate that because when you're looking for a run, that's my first place where I go to is that trades, those sections with trades.
Definitely.
And yeah, I think shout out to Great Legend. I know he's a huge fan of public libraries. Trades are very good for public libraries too, of course.
Yep.
So the next format up would be, your basic hardcover. And actually, I probably should have just grabbed a hardcover, but I grabbed an omnibus instead. So I was going to count those as 2 separate categories, but we'll lump it into one. But you have your hardcover next, which usually it collects anywhere from, it could be a 5-issue, what they call like a Marvel Premier hardcover, to like, I think there's 16 issues plus 8 specials in this, like 24 issues in this like Iron Fist omnibus. So you get your hardcover / omnibus, which is when I'm collecting, non-single issue format. This is my favorite way to like collect reads. Basically, it's just my preferred way. I think it presents well. Looks great on a shelf. It's always fun to have creators sign on the inside and stuff. They seem to really prefer them as well, in my perspective. But yeah, I absolutely love hardcovers. They do average high in price though. This particular one, if you bought it, say your brick and mortar bookstore like Barnes and Noble or Books A Million, and they didn't have any sales going on, this would have set you back $74.99.
No!
I did not pay $74.99.
No,
but that's the price on the back. So JB, what do you think about hardcovers and omnibus?
I own 0. Do not own a single omnibus, and if I got a hardcover, it probably came in a Comic Tom 101 thing. I mean, I don't have any. I don't search for them. I don't buy them outright. I kind of feel like the hardcover is not a collectible item for me. I mean, I feel it's a book. It's, you're not looking at the condition of it. I don't know. It's too expensive.
Yeah.
No, don't do it. Stay away from them.
What about you, Andy?
I won't pass up a good deal if I find one for really cheap, like at a garage sale or some other location or something like that. Like Barnes & Noble really runs a lot of sales on if you can find some of that stuff. But yeah, $75 for a hardcover. That's a lot of comic books, man. I have picked up some omnibus kind of books.
Yeah, you got the essential edition there.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're talking $17 when I bought this however long ago. That's a stark comparison to.
Now, is the essentials black and white though, or are they color?
Yeah, that's the tough thing. I didn't realize when I was grabbing
that, man. That's just such a bummer.
It is kind of a bummer, but I don't care if I beat it up. I don't care if I destroy it. I'll take it on road trip. I'll travel with it, so I can still read the stories without destroying it. The comic books.
True.
Nice. All right, so I got more to add on hardcovers, but I will go through all the formats first. So next up, JB, you're gonna love this one.
All right, what you got?
Absolute deluxe, whatever you want to call it, super uber format of comic books. So DC has their absolute line of comics, which usually they reserve for what the tip top selling comics of the past or popular reads have been. And it's just another way for them. It's kind of like if you were getting a Blu-ray edition and you wanted to get that big Criterion edition with all the souped up extras, high quality sound and picture and that stuff. The comic book version of that is basically the absolute edition from DC. And I know Marvel has other versions that, like, I think for Wolverine, they had like the adamantium edition of Wolverine and stuff like that, which was printed even bigger than this. But however, if you were to buy this once again at a brick and mortar bookstore, and all that good stuff. Didn't get any type of discounts. You're getting, it starts at like $99.99.
Carson, how much does that weigh?
Nope.
It's not light. It's
How much
not
that-
light at all.
My goodness.
Mind you, somebody could bludgeon you to death with that.
12 issues that are inside this.
That thing
Wow.
looks like it weighs 30 pounds.
Yep. So
And
it's
you
not
collect
light.
these, Carson? I mean, you have this because someone gave this to you as a gift, or is this something you're actively
Uh,
collecting at that price point?
For a minute, I was collecting one of these a year. I don't collect as much anymore, but this is actually a Christmas gift for me. So
Well,
me and
yeah,
my brother
you buy
usually
one, you don't
exchange
have to
out Ross.
replace it. So at some point, you're going to have everything.
Man,
So
it's amazing. So no, definitely passing on those as they are more expensive than the last option. I didn't even know those existed, to be honest with you.
Where I see books of that, I do see value, but every time I look at one, I'm like, ooh, I see $100 that I could throw at a Grail or something else that I don't have that I
That's
really
gorgeous. I mean, it's a gorgeous book. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong.
you can actually smell the paint too.
Yeah, but for $100, it better be.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, so there is that format. Here, I'll just set it down. Actually, it's going to take too long to get it back in there. And then, of course, the last format I had mentioned, and if anyone in the chat or you guys have another format, I just slipped my mind. Kind of like Andy's Essential Edition. Yeah, he's got it right. We're talking about that digital, kind of like the probably the newest and
So
easiest way to read stuff. So,
Real
JB,
quick.
what are your thoughts on this?
let's talk digital because all three of us read this on digital.
Yes.
Moon Knight. He went Comixology.
Yep.
Is that what you went? We went Marvel Unlimited.
Yes.
What other options did we have? What else could we have gone? What else is it? We could have gone to the local library, I'm hearing, and gotten an online account to go. I don't know. How does this work? Tell me. Because I know I'm spending monthly. And what are you spending? What's Comixology? That ain't free, right?
No, Comixology is free for the first 30 days. And I think if I read it right, it's like $5 a month just for the app. After that, for the unlimited app after that. But then you're also having to pay for everything on top of that you get.
Okay, so and the same restriction applies with regards to, it's got to be out a year before you get to read it for free, kind of thing. Is that what Unlimited is? Is it a year?
Varies per service, so.
Okay.
I'm not sure of the Comixology rules. I know on the Marvel side, on Marvel Unlimited, usually their 6-month-old reads will get uploaded to Marvel Unlimited. On the DC side, I believe it's 1 year.
Got it.
Hmm.
Start to add this up, guys. Think about this. You got the DC, you got the Marvel. Now we've got our Disney. We've got our Netflix. You start looking at your monthly spend on this, and wow.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. Like I said, I wanted to give it a shot because
read comics online free.
Ooh.
Yeah. Chad's bringing up the stuff that we probably don't need to be mentioning, but Read Comics Online is free. So there you go. Thank you, Chad.
Nice.
I mean, Comixology was free for the first 30 days, so I wanted to give it a shot. But
there it is.
there is a Stan Lee quote out there that I have not been able to find, and he alludes to a comic in the hand is much like a fine woman. You'd rather have her there in your hands than reading it on a screen or looking at it on a screen, so to speak. And I couldn't find the quote for like the last 10 minutes, but that for me, I'd rather have the comic in my hand or the hardcover or the trade paperback in my hand than reading electronically. But there is a convenience factor here that I'm not going to deny.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. And you know what else? When I was reading it on my tablet, I accidentally put my beer down on it, and it didn't matter. I just wiped the ring right off, and it was good to go.
So this iPad is probably 7 years old, 7 or 8 years old. Comixology, not a flinch. It ran perfect on this. This iPad is so old that Apple doesn't even update the iOS this far anymore. So this is so outdated. Comixology still ran flawlessly on that. So I was impressed with that.
Harry, you're hilarious.
But it's just with all these formats, the reason I wanted to show like all these formats, it's kind of interesting the journey of a single read. So for instance, I'll go back to Alex Ross's Justice. So Justice #1 comes out in comic shops. Eventually all 12 issues come out. You could have read them in single issues. Some people most likely did, of course. So it goes from that, and I believe it went to trade after that. So it went from trade, and probably around the time it was released, guess what? You could get the trade, or you can read it digitally. So you now have 3 ways to read it probably within the first year it was out. And then after that 1 year it was out, it probably went to a hardcover. So that was way number 4 at that point. And then probably about 2 years after that, it went to this absolute edition. So I guess my question to pose to you guys is, like, the marketing they're giving us as readers, is that too much? Like, is there such a thing as too much of a good thing to where basically, like, I guess we'll use DC Comics and pick on them for a second. Is it too much for, is basically DC asking you to buy this thing 5 times over? Is that just too much?
I think they're appealing to the different buyers that are out there. They're appealing because the guy that's buying that thing in your hand probably didn't buy the comic books when they were coming out every week. I'll tell you that.
Sure didn't.
Right.
or if you're
a premium piece, they are targeting that premium buyer who doesn't mind dropping a hundo on something that's really nice looking. And, every step along the way, they have targeted a different audience that probably isn't really buying it at the other level. That's in my opinion.
I agree with that wholeheartedly, because if many people are like me, and I buy a book and I read it, I try to read, not book, it's the specific comic book. If I love that story, I try to read it as little as possible. And if I need to continue rereading, I'll look for another route before I damage that copy. That's just me. I don't know why. But.
Mark loves my Super Friends poster. Thank you.
That's pretty awesome. But yeah, sometimes I find myself, because I do like to collect, unfortunately, everything when it comes to read. So, like, I think it was the Mark Waid Daredevil run. I love that run, so I was buying it when it was first released in hardcover. So the way Marvel would release their hardcovers is you have about like 6 to 12 issues put in a hardcover, and it was a nice little premiere edition type cover. Unfortunately, I didn't bring it with me to show. It's in another room over there. But nonetheless, I bought the Mark Waid run in hardcover, and then, like, maybe 1 year later is all it took, they released a nicer Marvel Omnibus edition of it. So I'm like, come on, like, that's an easier, better way to read it.
All right.
So, like, what do you do with these other 4 hardcovers I just bought? Because now I want the Omnibus version, which is even a better presentation.
Yeah. I mean, who has the biggest omnibus collection? It's like a Gem, right? Gem Mint.
Oh, it's got to be Gem Mint Collectibles. That
huge
guy,
omnibus collection. So basically, that omnibus is the entirety of all publicated works for that run in that period of time. Something to that effect, right? Is that what the omnibus is supposed to represent? So if he had, that first Fantastic Four is issue 1 to 100 with annual 1, annual 2, annual 3, and it's basically everything that was Fantastic Four published in this period.
That's a great selling point for those two.
Man.
Yeah,
that's a lot. It makes me think, man, should I stop trying to collect 1 to 100 in Fantastic Four and just buy the omnibus and be done with it?
Yeah. To see what's question, I think the multiple different times they release something is it's not just they're trying to re-release 5 times for one individual. It's different aspects of the market that they're trying to cover their bases on. I mean, they wouldn't spend the money to do it if they didn't think it was going to sell.
Now, Carson mentioned, you could potentially have a comic and then the trade and then the hard and but what about first printing, second printing, third printing? Oh, re-release, true believers, facsimile. How many times?
We didn't even talk about that.
Print, Marvel Masterpiece, all the different times that they print the same thing over and over again, and we buy it all up again. Here we go again.
That's Marvel's newest strategy. You'll have the older comic, and even DC's hopping on that bandwagon now, where you'll have your original beautiful comic, of course, and then you'll have like the $1 greatest hit. It's basically like the PlayStation Greatest Hits Green Label Edition is what I call it.
But it's a bulk
from everywhere else, and then you'll have the facsimile editions, and you'll go from there, and that's just in the single issues.
Yeah.
So it's just like it never ends, does it? So I want to bring up one point from J Hood Creative, because he had an interesting conundrum that DC has presented themselves. He says he doesn't have a problem with republishing work with higher production values, but he does have a problem with the republished old work as Black Label. Now, they've done this on such things as like All-Star Superman, which when I think Black Label, I do not think All-Star Superman in my right mind whatsoever. So what do you guys think about when companies try that type of tactic?
Bush League. It is. That's Bush League, especially if it's, the Black Label is supposed to represent something, and if you're not getting a higher quality product from it, then it's Bush League.
I heard Bush League and I had to jump in.
Baby.
If anybody knows Bush League, it's me.
How you doing, Drew?
I'm doing well, guys. Just got off of work. Happy to be here with the Modern Men.
Nice.
Here we're talking format.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the omnibus. I only have one. I really enjoy. I had the Age of Apocalypse omnibus, and there's just so much stuff in that crossover event that it's nice to have it all in one place in the reading order that they originally intended it.
Exactly.
Which is kind of hard to figure out.
That's a great point. Yeah.
That's a good point.
I do like those collections. You were saying essentials earlier, Andy. I read a lot of the original Claremont X-Men through essentials. I thought those were great. That gave me the chance to read issues that I either couldn't afford or couldn't find, which gave me a chance to, get up on some stories that I didn't have a chance to really get at if I was just digging through back issues. So I kind of dig those. But I mean, I keep them all in a box in my garage now. Like I'm not taking care of them. I don't care about them. Trades. I love Image trades. Seawood hit the nail on the head. $9.99 for first volume.
Yep. They always hook, line, and sinker.
You know what, dude? I'd rather pay $9.99 for a whole first volume than $4.99 for a #1 issue that is not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really great way that Image has really built up their titles that have staying power. They're of course they don't all have staying power.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really good for the publisher, for the issues, for the stories that really have the staying power, for them to be able to reach more people. And I really dig that. It's got to be great for the creators as well. I'm assuming that $9.99, that first trade, they make jack shit nothing off of it. But if they're selling trades 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, they've got to be cleaning up on the back.
Yeah, it's usually a $13 or $15 price tag on volume 2. I learned that one the hard way when I was marking these. I'm like, $9.99 for these trades. That's awesome. I'll take #2, please. Like, that's $14 in tax. I'm
right.
Like, man, I'll get it anyway. And then
everybody's talking about my Eat Meat shirt. This is actually a Shiner shirt. It says Eat Meat, Drink Beer.
Shiner Bach. I always love it when Drew shows up after getting off wearing an Eat Meat shirt.
There you go. You know what? We had free pork sandwiches for Veterans Day. It was a madhouse in that motherfucker.
Pork chop sandwiches.
Madhouse. Pork sandwiches for Veterans Day. Faux free. You show me a military ID. Here's your pork sandwich, fries, coleslaw.
As a
$16 value.
Man.
As a veteran on Veterans Day, with all of the amazing specials and lunch deals that are out there for veterans, they still don't give veterans the day off to go do that. It's not a national. It's a holiday, but it's not a holiday where you get.
Well, keep complaining about your free donuts, and I'll keep telling you to shut up.
Will you stop?
I couldn't get to my free donuts today. I didn't get free donuts at all today.
I'll send you some.
Oh, that's all right.
So
I'll be okay.
The final part of this topic I was going to bring up is the overall collectability, or is it worth it for any of these mediums? Obviously, pretty much everyone watching this is probably a comic book collector of single issues and such. That seems to be, most of the crowd for the Comic Core, the people come here, they read their single issues. So obviously we won't talk about that and, slabbing books. That's obviously for another day. But like collecting trades, hardcovers, omnis, is there a collectability market for things like this?
I don't think
Andy's
so.
shaking his head no. We'll start with Andy.
I don't think so, because I tell you what, most of the trades that I pick up are on resale areas or eBay or garage sales, because when people pay that full price tag and they read through it and it's not what they wanted, or it's not something that caught their attention and they didn't continue reading on, you buy them for 50 to 80% off
Right.
like pennies for what they were asking at the beginning. So collectability, I don't see it. I don't.
What about you, baby?
I agree. I don't think they're collectible at all. As far as losing value, come on, man. I mean, 90% of the books I buy on Wednesday are worth $1 later. So, none of it's actually worth, money. And only a few things are. But I think the convenience factor is worth it. So I dig trades. Collectible? No.
Drew?
Every single Wednesday, I walk into my shop and he's got a setup of the new trades. And if it's something that I haven't read that I'm interested in reading, sometimes I'll pick it up. Sometimes I find collectability in first prints of trades that have gone back to print in several other formats. You get a first edition Walking Dead #1 trade. It's not worth $1 million. It's not worth $100, but it's worth a couple more bucks than you paid for it initially. Right. Omnibuses I see as something that goes in and out of print. And I think it's a really good deal. I always talk to the shopkeep that I go to on a regular basis. And I talk to him because he's going to tell me when he gets deals from Diamond on trades and on omnibuses. And then the only time I ever bought an omnibus is because it was dirt fucking cheap. Pardon my language. Dirt cheap. Dirt cheap omnibus with a big story, and it's a story that I loved. And I was like, hell yeah, I will order that. I order trades all the time that are on clearance from Diamond. Diamond, before they go to half-price books or to in-stock trades or to any of these other wholesalers, Diamond offers them at the same clearance rate to your LCSs, and you can order them individually at those rates.
But are you collecting them, Drew? Are you bagging them and boarding them and taking care of them? And
depends, because I have my headlopper trades. Yes, they're bagged, they're boarded.
Okay,
I want to keep them nice.
He makes a great point, guys, because that Ellis Moon Knight run, that trade paperback is out of print and it's a ghost.
Right. So if and you're talking about sometimes you can find these things like a third volume of a series that only went 4 volumes. You can find the 4th volume everywhere because nobody finished reading it, so they printed more than they sold. The second volumes are all gone. The first volume went back to print again because people like the first volume, but you can't find that third volume anywhere. And then you end up, if you're going to buy the trade, you buy it on eBay for $20 when it had a $14 price tag. So it is what it is. It's just like anything else. It's supply and demand. And if you find something that there's a low supply of, a low print run on, there can definitely have collectability. Like I said, if I buy something, if I really, really like a run, like I love Headlopper. It's one of my favorite books, and it's quarterly, right? So it comes out 4 times a year. But you also get a trade every year, and you get a hardcover every year, and I buy them all. So that's something that if it's something that I'm into, I'm gonna buy it in more than one format. That's just I heard Andy talking about it earlier. You buy the single issues, and then you don't want to mess with the single issues, so you buy the trade so you can read it again.
Yeah.
Or like you do what I do with the Image trade. You buy the Image trade, you fall in love with the series, right? And then you got to go hunt the #1. Yep. And it's like, oh shit, now I got to pay $10 for this book that I could have just got it on my pull list.
Mm-hmm. That for me was Saga.
Yeah, and it happens. It happens from all kinds of different angles, but there's definitely collectability in every single format. I think that every single format has its own collectability to it, because if you get Saga trade #1, right, which I did, and I picked up 2, and then 3, and then 4, and now there's a spot on my shelf where Saga lives.
Yeah.
And then I bought the compendium, and I kind of gave the trades to my girlfriend, so now she's reading them, and I have the compendium just sitting there. I don't know. I think that it's something that definitely holds value for different people in different ways. Do paperback books hold value?
Yeah.
Yes and no, because you can go and you get a bunch of Goosebumps for 25 cents, but if you got a nice mint set of Goosebumps and somebody really wants that mint set of Goosebumps, you can get a couple bucks for it. Everything has collectability in its own market.
But yeah, I my answer is going to be yes there and no basically as well. So like these are the types of books I would probably end up giving away to my friends if someone's like, oh, I haven't read Walking Dead. I'm like, here, borrow this. But books like this, there's a reason I kind of shoved this in there to begin, because this is an out of print omnibus from Marvel, and people love them from out of print Marvel Omnis. So I brought up here, at least, this is my dummy example book, some sold listings for the Immortal Iron Fist Omnibus from Marvel here. So one is for $153.50 last month. Another one was for $102 and $129.
Wow.
So you're probably saying like, well, there's some high numbers, but of course it's a $75 price tag. But the key is you don't buy it for full price. You get it on companies like Amazon, in stock trades, where they're 42 to 50% off almost all the time. So for sure,
Put the
Comic Core Smash hashtag.
So people are willing to pay a premium, definitely.
Yes. So there is a collectability there in a lot of cases. So
But you mentioned something great, which is a great point about trades that I did. The whole Walking Dead run. When I had a friend say, "Well, I've never read that," I took that whole long box of all those Walking Dead trade paperbacks and dropped it off and let them keep it for a year, and then I got them back. That's my favorite part about my trade paperbacks is I don't mind letting them out to my friends and getting other people into reading that stuff, because if those come back a little, I got coffee stains on them, I don't care.
Have you heard about what Alex's doing with the library?
Yeah, that's a really
That's
exciting
cool, man.
thing. Yeah.
That's cool. I hope Saga comes my way because I haven't read it.
Does anyone have, it's like
you go to the randomizer real quick and type it in.
yeah,
Get that one in there.
it's a rolling library idea where it's kind of like a take a penny, need a penny, give a penny kind of thing. Does anybody have more details on it beyond that?
Well, I just watched the video today, and he said basically, he wants you to write your name on the inside cover, like you would a library book back in the day when you're a kid,
Nice.
right? So you write your name on the inside cover if you read it, and then you just send it on to the next person. If you decide that you want to keep it, put something else relatively equivalent in price and send it on its way. So I think it's kind of cool because of the things that he had in there, I hadn't read any of them. So if it comes my way, I'll be reading them all.
That's
All
pretty good.
right. So now is the time of the show where I want to see some picks in the chat for what we're
Get
going
the
to read
picks,
next week.
chat. Get the
So
picks.
while we filter these picks into the random, and like I said, about 1 to 5, issues for the read. That way, it's something we can talk about quick at the top of each show. So get those picks in. But while we're waiting for those picks, Drew, would you like to plug the contest on the Comic Core?
I would like to part of the contest on the Comic Core. I brought the brand up so we can go ahead and do that, guys.
Yeah.
Just a heads up, we're doing a contest on the Comic Core. There is a contest video that did run today. It is the Incredible Hulk giveaway. I have a 14.5-inch Incredible Hulk Marvel Legends figure for you guys. It's real simple, okay? It's open to U.S. residents 18 and over. You must be subscribed to the Comic Core channel. How do you enter? Comment on any Comic Core video posted between yesterday and the 12th of December and include the hashtag in your comment, Comic Core Smash. Hashtag Comic Core Smash. One entry per video, per person. Enter as many times as you like, okay?
Man.
Winner will be announced on the Friday, the 13th episode of Comic Core Off the Rails. It's Friday, December 13th. We will announce the winner. Right here, we got a little picture of that 14-inch Hulk. There he is in the box right there. Remember, it's Comic Core Smash, okay? Unfortunately, it is too hard for us to go ahead and tabulate all the comments that you guys leave via the live chats. So make sure that when this video is over and it posts as a replay, just go back, click on the replay once, leave a comment there. You can leave a comment on the video I released today. You can leave a comment on this video here. You can leave a comment on any of the reviews that come out from between now and the 12th of December. And you can also leave a comment on Golden Guys tomorrow when the replay of that posts. Leave a comment on Unlimited. Leave a comment on any of the live shows. You just need to go back to the replay in order to do that. Okay, guys? So this is the Comic Core Incredible Hulk giveaway there.
And they need to be subscribed to the Comic Core channel, correct?
Get off of there. Yeah, you need to be subscribed to the Comic Core channel. And I got this guy's right here. He's giant. He's heavy.
He's huge.
He comes with interchangeable hands. He comes with the old school Kirby head. He comes with the new school head here as well. This is just a really dope figure.
Very cool.
I got it for an absolute steal, and I want to make sure that I'm giving this out to somebody who really wants it. Hey, you don't want it, you got some kids in your life, guess what? This will be shipped to you before Christmas. So if this could just be a random thing that you get for your kid, and share the videos out with any your social media outlets. And I'm going to be coming up with different ways of you guys to spread the word about this contest that will also get you extra entries in. So we'll be dropping those kind of hints throughout videos as the contest moves on. And like I said, you get as many entries as you can in, guys. Tell your friends about it. It's a good time.
I wish my Hulk was that big. I mean, I just got a little guy.
Sounds like a personal problem.
Well, I saw you entered today's video contest, Andy, so you might have a big Hulk headed your way. Who knows?
You never know.
This is open to any subscriber, so any member of one can also win.
These are great, man.
Wow, they're coming in fast and furious.
Yeah, so
they are.
The
Fatal Attraction exploits. That's pretty good.
I'm kind of excited that Craven's Last Hunt got added. Was added. A couple other things. I'd like to add the first trade paperback of The Walking Dead because if that gets picked, I'd like to see how that's holding up.
All right, so Daredevil Born Again. So I think we're going to
Superman
go ahead.
too long, wouldn't you say?
Unless JB or Drew wants to add anything to this.
Now I'm ready to read something. You guys pick for me.
What's too long, Drew?
Reign of the Supermen. Isn't that like 12 books? 13, something like that. It's ridiculous.
Ooh.
But they all kind of blend together.
What do you get?
Superior Spider-Man is a good read.
I was just looking at that.
Here's what we got, and I can add one or two more real quick. But I got Saga 1 through 5.
Oh yeah.
Daredevil Yellow, Spider-Man Blue, which I believe those are both Chris Barrett suggestions. Fantastic Four by Jonathan Hickman. Probably just like the first 5 or 6 issues.
That Hickman run is not good for the first couple of issues, and it gets really, really great in the middle. So I would not suggest that it's way too long to get to any payoff.
And we got Infinite Crisis. I saw Identity Crisis mentioned a couple times, but we just reviewed that on the channel a couple of weeks ago, actually. Chad and I did. So definitely
go back and watch it.
Check out the Identity Crisis review, Chad and I. It put Chris Barrett to sleep, apparently, he said in a couple chats ago. So there's that. So we had Infinite Crisis. Catwoman by Joel Jones. John's Comics with Kids dropped that in. Thor 1 through 5 from the Jane Foster run. Andy's pick of The Walking Dead Volume 1. Daredevil Born Again.
Oh, yeah.
Vision by Tom King. I just put 1 through 6 so we could read the first half of that run. Here's one that I actually wanted to pick, forgot, and someone else in the chat picked. The Annihilation Saga from Marvel. So
that is really long, too, though,
I think it's just like 6 or 7 issues of the main read, so that's probably what I'd stick to.
Okay.
Superior Spider-Man, I'm just saying 1 through 5. Someone put Reign of the Supermen. What I'd propose on that is we read the first issue. We'd probably read... No, we wouldn't read Adventures 500. We'd save that for some other time. We'd probably just read like the first issue with each of the Supermen in it, which is 4 issues total. Marvel's by Alex Ross, another great pick for me. Superman for All Seasons, Batman Year 2, X-Men Fatal Attractions, and then also I see Flashpoint.
How about Craven's Last Hunt, or was that the Superior Spider-Man?
Craven's Last Hunt is on there. It is Spider-Man run from the late 80s that is phenomenal.
What about the Bendis Old Man Logan run?
Oh, yeah, okay, let's put that.
Ooh. This is a good list.
Bendis had an Old Man Logan run?
Well, that's what I can't pronounce this name, but...
Or, you know what, I'm proposing the actual Old Man Logan from Mark Millar.
There you go.
Ooh. Man.
I cannot spell.
Have we done Civil War yet?
Ooh, good pick.
And then, yeah, we're going to cap it at Civil War. So otherwise we'll be here.
Run the randomizer.
All right, so here we go. We're going to do this just one time. We're not going to screw around with like dice rolls and all that stuff. We're just going to hit, randomize one time. So here we go. Civil War wins. We're ready for Civil War next week.
Nice.
So I think that's a pretty good pick. That way we can compare it, to the Civil War movie. Because it's probably been since it came out, since I read it. And honestly, if I remember right, I enjoyed the video game more. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, I enjoyed the movie more than the read. So I'm looking forward to really revisiting that and seeing what I interpret of it now. Because I think it was overrated at the time.
I think I'd be interested in seeing how it stacks up to the Marvel Universe now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's kind of two issues of the Marvel universe really when you look at it, and it's pre-Civil War and post-Civil War.
By the way, John's pointing out that is Mindshift from Instagram, and if you're not watching Mindshift on Instagram, he's fantastic.
Nice. All right. Oh my God, Sting is
Oh, there you go.
guys. It is time to go. We'll keep the tape machines rolling, but big thanks, guys, for the suggestions, for tuning in tonight to Modern Men Episode 5. We'll see you guys next week.
Don't forget, we had a good time.